Alright guys, in this next video I want to talk about what I would argue is everyone's favorite search engine, which is Google. Google is a valuable tool that I would argue almost everyone uses when it comes to finding out information, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are some things about Google, however, that we should be cautious about when it comes to academic research. So I'm not telling you that you cannot use Google. In fact, I encourage you to use Google, but I do want to talk a little bit about what you should do and what you should not do. So let's take as the example with my last video, I used global warming. So if we just go to Google, that's regular google.com, and we type in global warming, it's going to, in a matter of a half a second, pull up 168 million hits, and that's a lot. And so the question that I always pose to students is, where do you begin? How do you know what to click on, and how do you know what not to click on? There are a couple of things that I do want to make you aware of on this page that populates your search results, okay? And while it's fresh on my mind, let me say this. Google is not a source. Google is a search engine. So nowhere in your paper or on your works cited page should you cite Google. Google is just kind of like Walmart, where everything is housed, but that's not the thing. You don't go to Walmart to buy Walmart. You go to Walmart to buy hand soap, and so you buy the hand soap. So you don't go to Google and get Google. You go to Google and you get an article from UCSUSA, I don't know what that stands for, .org. That maybe was not the best, Union of Concerned Scientists, but that maybe wasn't the best example, but hopefully you get my drift. So, a couple of things to point out on this page alone. We want to first just look at the hyperlink, right? We see here some of our top hits are .org, that's O-R-G. Those are from organizations. That tends to be more credible, so we want to go to those. Other things that you might look for are .gov. Those are government publications. Those are things that you might want to look for. You could also look for .edu. That's not to discredit .coms, because popular news sources are .coms, but you have to be a little bit more judicious in terms of what you choose as a popular .com source. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, let's just click on one of these. Let's just click on the first one. And this is from the Union of Concerned Scientists, which is an organization, apparently. Let's see if it comes up. Again, I'm working from home, so my computer runs a little bit more slowly than my computer in my office at work, so, or maybe not at all. Maybe I'm frozen. Alright, so we got the web page up, but just want to point out a couple of things. Of course, you want to be mindful of bias whenever you go to a website, because if we look at this, just looking at the heading, the Union of Concerned Scientists, Science for a Healthy Planet and Safer World, not to discredit or support global warming, but obviously there's going to be a particular slant with this. But if we look at the webpage, it seems to be pretty professional. Not a whole lot to say about that. It's a good thing when you see who the people are. A lot of these websites that we find on Google are just anonymous. We don't know who wrote it. We don't know when. We don't know their credentials. But if we can see some real people with some real credentials, who we can actually probably Google Doug here and find out a little bit more about him and see just how credible he is as a scientist, then that helps our argument quite a bit. But let's go back to Google. One thing that will always come up, no matter what you Google, is Wikipedia. I'm going to click on it, but as I'm clicking on it, let me say this. Do not use Wikipedia. Do not use Wikipedia. The reason why I say not to use Wikipedia is because it is an editable online encyclopedia. If you have an account, you can log in, you can change the content on a page. Does that mean that people do that just for fun? No. Does that mean you can't trust anything on Wikipedia? No, it doesn't. But for academic research, where your goal is to use credible resources, then Wikipedia you can't use. But let me show you kind of like a cheat code that I use Wikipedia for sometimes. Is we go to our wiki page. A really well written Wikipedia page will have a plethora of resources at the bottom. So I'm just going to scroll. I'm not reading anything on here, but I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And if we look, we have a very extensive list of citations. All right. So this is well over 200. I'm not going to keep scrolling, but well over 200 sources that have been cited in compiling this data on Wikipedia. So what you can do, I call this reverse research. I don't know if that's a thing, but what you can do is look at the sources that have been cited. Many of them are PDF documents that you can probably click on and use that source, not use Wikipedia. So if you click on the link that's in the sources or the citations or the references, it may be called different things depending on the page that you're on, you can go to those PDFs and then click on them, read the article for yourself. If it's a credible source, you'll be able to tell, and then you can cite this source, right? So now we have a PDF document that's, I don't know if this is a good source necessarily for the topic because I haven't read this, but you can see that this is presented in an academic, scholarly manner that you can then cite. Okay, so that's what I did want to show you about Wikipedia. So don't use Wikipedia unless you're using it for the cheat code, which is to go to the sources that the Wikipedia page uses. Now, I do want to show you something else about Google that I am oftentimes surprised that many students are not aware of. If I am on Google and I'm just going to search scholar, the word scholar. Now, and that's going to bring up, the first link is going to be Google Scholar. Not a lot of students are familiar with this, but it's also scholar.google.com. And this is a search engine, but it houses articles that are specific to academic research. So when you search on Google, we had millions of hits. Now, if we channel our search to Google Scholar, you still may get a lot of hits, but they're going to be different. Here, instead of 168 million hits, we have 1.8 million hits. Still a lot, but what I do want to show you with Google Scholar, notice that the hits are different. They look different. You have books, you have articles. You can look and say, hey, this article itself was cited in over 4,000 other articles. That's probably going to be some really good information. You can also customize your search, just like we did with NC Live. Custom range, we want to make our range from 2008 again to 2018. We're just going to change our range to that. And that eliminates quite a few also. Now, same thing that we use with Google or with NC Live, you can type in those Boolean terms yourself. So let's say global warming, not natural disasters. So now I have 18,000 hits. That is drought under global warming in review. So now we're talking about global warming and natural disasters. I should probably have put natural disasters. So now I'm getting hits that are specific to global warming and natural disasters. The same thing that's available to you with NC Live, which is clicking on these quotation marks. You can also get the MLA citation by just clicking on the quotation marks that are there for you. So I do encourage you to use Google Scholar for finding credible academic resources. Because this is Google, some things may pop up that are paid. Don't pay for them. Books, if it's an ebook, you can read a portion of the book for free. But just you have to kind of play around with it, click around a little bit, choose the PDFs. Even if it's a PDF, this is from researchgate.net. If all of the information is there on the PDF, then you can write your citation clearly. If you have the author's name, the publication source, the title, the dates, all those things, you can create your citation quite easily. Let's see. Right, so clicking on this, we see the article that was populated. It's a 27-page article all about climate and conflicts and security risk of global warming. And we have everything, the abstract, we have everything that we need in order to write up a citation for this article, and it's all there for you. So, like I said at the beginning or a moment ago, not a lot of students know about Google Scholar, but I do encourage you to get to know about Google Scholar because it is a valuable resource when it comes to academic research. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about finding resources using both the databases that are available to you on our campus library webpage and also a smarter way to use Google. So if you have any questions, again, make sure that you reach out to me or use the Ask a Librarian, a librarian, which is part of the Richmond CC Library webpage.